Welcome to Rabbit Hole Research. This is Chevy Cool Lady bringing you today's hot topics and cool alternative history. Please join me as we delve into the mysterious rabbit hole called the Ursulain Sisters, their connection to vampires and the reset of America, starting in New Orleans. Have you heard of the Casket Girls? Girls that traveled from France to the New World carrying their own coffins. Well, join me as we explore the vamping of the French Quarter. Please like and subscribe if you're a first-time visitor looking for a safe place to discuss cool topics, or if you are a returning sub, I love you because you are the coolest ever. Grab a coffee and a snack as we hold on to out hats and slide into the 18th century. In 1592, in Milan, under Charles Borromeo, the Archbishop of Milan, members of the Company of Saint Ursula chose to become an enclosed religious order. Enclosed religious orders are religious orders whose members are strictly isolated from the affairs of the outside world. They are also known as cloistered clergy. In the Catholic Church, enclosure is regulated by the canons and the statutes of specific denominations. Enclosed religious orders observe vows of poverty, chastity, obedience and permanency. Pope Gregory XIII placed them under the rule of Saint Augustine. Especially in France, groups of the company began to reshape themselves as cloistered nuns, under solemn vows, and dedicated to the education of girls within the walls of their monasteries. 12 Ursulines from France landed in what is now New Orleans. The entire group of Ursulines were the first Roman Catholic nuns in what is now the United States. Both properties were part of the French colony of Louisiana, New France. They came to the country under the auspices of Pope Pius III and Louis XV of France. Following the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, their charter came under the jurisdiction of the United States. Of all the religious sects I have studies, the cloister convents are disparaged to be the most notorious for the abuse of women and girls, primarily and exclusively by the Catholic priests. The nuns are basically slaves to the order.
In 1726, King Louis XV of France decided to send 3 Ursuline nuns from Rouen to New Orleans. Their mission was twofold: establish a hospital for the poor and provide education for young girls from wealthy families. 14 nuns embarked on the long journey, with 7 of their names recorded: Sister Saint Augustine, Marie Trenchapain, the Mother Superior, Sister Angelique, Marie Le Boulanger, Dame Jude, all from Rouen, Mother Françoise Xavier, from Le Havre, and Madame Cavalier, from Elbeuf. There were also 2 postulant sisters and 3 nuns from Brittany. Despite the trip lasting 5 months instead of the expected 3, they arrived in New Orleans in July 1727. Initially housed in one of the city's larger buildings, they soon set to work.
The Ursuline sisters believed in the importance of educating women for the betterment of society. In 1727, they founded the Ursuline Academy, the first boarding school in Louisiana. It provided an exceptional education for Catholic Hispanic girls and women from Central and South American countries. Healthcare: the Ursulines established an orphanage within their convent and one of New Orleans' first hospitals. They cared for patients, including soldiers, and treated diseases like malaria and yellow fever among the slave population. Music and pharmacy: these resourceful nuns also started the first school of music in New Orleans, and Sister Frances Xavier became the first pharmacist in the United States during the early 1700s. Their first building, completed in 1734, was a 3-story half-timber structure. However, the unprotected timbers deteriorated due to the humid climate. In 1745, they constructed a new building adjacent to the existing one, reusing some materials. The Ursulines left an indelible mark on New Orleans, shaping education, healthcare, and culture.
Let's delve into the rich tapestry of New Orleans in the early 1700s, where French and Spanish influences mingled with Native American traditions, creating a vibrant and mysterious atmosphere. Title: Shadows of the Crescent City. In the year 1700, the bustling port city of New Orleans stood at the crossroads of cultures. Its streets echoed with the sounds of Creole, Choctaw, and French, forming a symphony of many tongues. The air was thick with humidity, carrying scents of magnolias and spices from distant lands. Here, the Mississippi River flowed like a lifeline, connecting to a French Quarter, a melting pot of desires. In the heart of the French Quarter, narrow cobblestone streets wound their way past colonial mansions adorned with wrought iron balconies. The Creole elite, descendants of French settlers and African slaves, danced at lavish soirees, their silk-clad forms swaying to the rhythm of violins. The scent of chicory coffee and beignet wafted from bustling cafes, where gossip flowed as freely as the dark brew. But beneath the surface, whispers stirred. Rumors of secret societies and forbidden rituals circulated among the shadowed alleyways. The Count of Saint-Germain, a mysterious figure who had seemingly defied time itself, moved through these streets. Some claimed he was born in the late 1600s, others in the early 1700s. His age remained an enigma, and his presence cast a pall over the city. Jacques de Saint-Germain, the eternal stranger. Jacques de Saint-Germain was no ordinary man. His pale skin, sharp features, and piercing eyes set him apart. He frequented the salons, captivating the ladies with tales of distant lands and lost civilizations. Yet, those who looked closely noticed the crimson glint in his eyes when the moon hung low. Whispers spread that he was a vampire, a creature who walked the line between life and death. The Count's mansion stood on the outskirts of the city, its wrought iron gates adorned with intricate symbols. At night, torches flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Those who dared approach claimed to hear haunting melodies emanating from within, music that stirred both desire and dread. The Temple of the Innocent Blood. Deeper still lay the Temple of the Innocent Blood, a clandestine gathering place for those who sought communion with the supernatural. Like other spiritual churches of the era, it blended Catholic iconography with elements of spiritualism, mediumship, and African-derived practices. Here, candles flickered before altars adorned with blood-red roses, and whispered prayers invoked forgotten deities. Within these hallowed walls, the real vampires gathered. They were not the stuff of Gothic novels, but beings who hungered for more than mortal sustenance. Sanguinarians, they called themselves, those who craved the taste of blood. Their rituals were both sacred and forbidden, drawing energy from willing donors who sought communion with the otherworldly. The Dance of Shadows. As the clock struck midnight, the French Quarter transformed. Masked balls blurred the lines between reality and fantasy. Dancers twirled in silk and lace, their laughter echoing off ancient walls. Yet, behind the masks, secrets hid. The Count moved among them, his eyes hungry for more than mere revelry. And so, the legend of Jacques de Saint-Germain grew. Was he a cursed immortal or a master illusionist? Did he truly drink blood? Or was it a metaphor for forbidden desires? The truth remained elusive, veiled in moonlight and mystery. As the years passed, New Orleans embraced its dual nature, the city of jazz and voodoo, of Mardi Gras and whispered incantations. The vampire cults persisted, their rituals hidden in plain sight. And Jacques de Saint-Germain? His shadow stretched across centuries, a phantom who danced on the edge of eternity. Note: the tale of Jacques de Saint-Germain is a blend of history and folklore, woven into the fabric of New Orleans. Whether he was a real vampire or a masterful illusionist, his legend endures, casting its spell over the Crescent City, the old world to the new.
Let's delve into the intriguing tale of the Casket Girls, vampires who left their mark on New Orleans in the early 1700s. The way I heard it was, times were tough and women were few and far between. All the good sex workers had been taken, and the rest were cloistered nuns. So, the king sent women to be sent to New Orleans from France. The journey took 3 months longer than expected. When they arrived, beautiful but weak and pale, and the sickly crew were mad with wild tales, the town was filled with hushed speculation. The women were ushered into the convent where they remained. It was said the caskets were sealed with the Pope's blessing on 800 silver nails, into the attic. What became of the girls is not known. The most curious part of the story is the fact that Pope John Paul II visited the academy in the 80s and blessed those silver nails. The place was opened a few years ago, and strangely, there were no coquettes, only some items being stored from the school. 4. The Casket Girls were a group of young women sent from France to New Orleans. They arrived with only what could fit in a trunk called a cassette or casket. These trunks were not coffins, rather, they were simple chests used for storage. Legend has it that these girls were different from their peers. They were deathly pale, malnourished, and gaunt, likely due to the harsh conditions during their boat journey to the New World. It is said the Casket Girls were housed at the Ursulain convent in New Orleans, where they were nursed back to health and educated by the nuns. Their purpose? To become eligible wives and mothers for the male colonists. However, there's a twist. Some believe that these girls unknowingly smuggled vampires to New Orleans. Whether fact or fiction, the legend of the Casket Girls adds an eerie dimension to the city's history.